Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a wild journey from the flashy lights of stage magic straight into the deep, often hidden world of human psychology. We're going to uncover the real truth about deciphering human behavior. As you'll see, we'll look at exactly how illusionists fake telepathy, and more importantly, how you can use those exact same observational skills to deeply understand the people around you. To kick things off, let's look at this brilliant admission from renowned mentalist Oz Perlman. He says, "I am billed as the world's greatest mind reader. But guess what? I can't read minds. I read people." I just love that because he's openly stating that true magic isn't supernatural at all. It's not some kind of psychic superpower. It is simply hyper-observant empathy. He just pays close attention to the things the rest of us completely miss. Now, it took him 3 decades, 30 years, of reverse engineering the human mind to master recognizing these tiny behavioral nuances. And we're talking about deeply ingrained evolutionary responses here. For example, he points out that if you approach someone directly with both your eyes fully visible, it can actually unconsciously trigger a fear response in their brain. But if you turn just ever so slightly and approach with only one eye visible, that subtle little shift instantly reduces their subconscious fear. Crazy, right? All right, let's get into section 1, the magician's mechanics. So it is absolutely fascinating how magicians break down the illusion of free will. They use techniques like the magician's choice or the crisscross force to secretly manipulate your decisions. You literally feel entirely in control, but they're actually forcing a predetermined outcome on you. They also use hidden gimmicks. Have you ever heard of a Swami gimmick? It's this tiny pencil secretly strapped to their thumbnail. They use that, combined with clever time delays, to secretly write down a prediction after you've already made your supposedly free choice. It's brilliant. And this is exactly where we see performers reading physiological cues instead of actual minds. Perlman uses tiny physical signs to accurately guess what a total stranger is thinking. Think about it. If he asks someone to think of a person and the spectator has their hands lingering in their pockets, well, that often signals a male-to-male interaction. If the spectator feels a shiver or seems physically rigid, they're subconsciously associating their thought with a dead historical figure. But if they're warm and smiling, the person is alive. And if he asks for a name and notices the spectator subtly counting on their fingers, he knows immediately it's a long name, something like Alexander the Great. It's like a giant puzzle they're piecing together in real time. So the crucial takeaway here is that the secret behind most magic tricks is actually less about the mechanical gimmick itself and way more about a flawlessly executed script. The presentation literally makes up 80% of the illusion. It's the conversation, the intense eye contact, the carefully crafted narrative. All of that is designed to distract your brain from the hidden truth that's right in front of you. Moving right along to section 2, decoding the silent language. You see, if you really want to read people in the real world, you absolutely have to understand the golden rule of psychological observation. And that is, a single gesture means absolutely nothing on its own. You can't just read a textbook that says, oh, crossed arms means someone is defensive. I mean, maybe they're just cold. You have to compare their actions to their normal baseline and look for clusters of behavioral changes that happen together within a specific context. If you want to know what someone is truly feeling, don't just listen to their words. Words are way too easy to fake. Instead, you've got to observe these physiological signs. Look for sudden deviations from how they normally act. Notice if their vocal pitch or speaking speed suddenly shifts when a certain topic comes up. Watch to see if they unconsciously mirror your posture, because that actually indicates rapport. Pay close attention to strategic silences or rapid shifts in energy. These clusters are the real clues that tell you someone's emotional state has just shifted. Which brings us to section 3, unmasking human nature. Now, to understand why people exhibit these defensive behaviors, we need to dig a bit deeper. As the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche warned us, people rarely speak from pure truth. More often than not, they speak from survival. From a really young age, we adopt these elaborate personas, essentially masks, to protect our vulnerable inner selves from rejection, failure, and humiliation. It's not that people are inherently malicious, it's just that they're scared. And we can actually watch these masks crack by paying attention to contrasts, because extreme behaviors are almost always a disguise. Take, for example, someone who is loudly broadcasting their moral purity, constantly correcting others and preaching. Well, that excessive virtue is often just hiding a deep, desperate need for superiority and applause. Real goodness doesn't constantly demand an audience, right? Likewise, when you encounter someone who is constantly mocking or belittling others, they are almost certainly projecting. The person who aggressively critiques everyone around them is usually in a secret war with their own reflection. They're attacking the exact insecurities in others that they are completely terrified to face in themselves. It's like extreme behaviors are actually a confession of our hidden truths. For instance, people who constantly exaggerate, loudly proclaiming, "I don't care what anyone thinks." They usually care the most. The micromanager who absolutely needs total control over everyone else, they're usually terrified of their own inner chaos. And those folks who curate loud, perfect, nonstop performances on social media are often dealing with a really empty core, terrified of being completely invisible. Basically, the louder the performance, the deeper the wound. Ultimately, people repeat the dynamics they never escaped in childhood. We use logic and strongly held beliefs to shield ourselves from ever feeling our deepest past hurts again. So when someone gets highly defensive in an argument, remember this. Underneath every logical argument is an emotional wound. They aren't just defending a fact, they're protecting a vulnerability. All right, let's move into our final part, Section 4, the magic of connection. So how do we actually use all these profound psychological insights practically? Well, we can start by mastering the most basic human connection, introductions. Get this, 95% of people completely fail to remember a stranger's name seconds after meeting them. And it's not because they have a bad memory, it's because they simply aren't listening. They're entirely distracted by their own internal anxiety, frantically thinking about what they're going to say next. To fix this, Oz Perlman brilliantly repurposed the instructions on a shampoo bottle, lather, rinse, repeat, into a super simple 3-step memory tool. Listen, repeat, reply. Step 1, literally clear your mind for 2 seconds and truly listen to the name. Step 2, repeat it back to them twice in conversation. And step 3, reply to cement it in your brain. You can lock in that final reply step forever by doing one of 3 things. Offer a visual compliment like, "I love those earrings, Ashley," so now she's visually linked in your mind as Ashley with the earrings. Or you can verify the spelling. Do you spell that with an E or an A? Or finally, just invent a quick personal connection in your head. You can literally lie to yourself and think, "Oh, my cousin is named Ashley." By the time you do this, their name is carved into your memory for good. Knowing how to read the silent language of behavior, how to spot the masks people wear, and how to genuinely connect, it gives you an incredible window into the human soul. But it leaves us with one vital final choice. When you see the fear behind the bully or the guilt behind the arrogance, what do you do with it? Are you reading minds to gain power, or are you reading people to offer grace?